Yo, this is Minister Jordan coming back at you again with part two of introducing myself. This is basically the second introduction to my page, basically to discuss basically the different things that I want to discuss on my page versus getting a better understanding and having a better outlook of things and situations. In the first video, you saw me discuss it is not good for man to be alone. And in the video, I broke down the 5 different areas of what it means to be good, and also the specific definition of what God is saying. And it is not good for man to be alone. So to bag up for a minute before I go forward, I'm just gonna reiterate what I discussed in the first video. First, when God said it's not good for man to be alone, he was talking about it wasn't desirable for man to be alone. But even if man didn't desire to be alone, you have to understand the other 4 definitions still apply to Adam. So to reiterate that, I'm just going to go back through the definitions and show you how the desire part also affect the other parts of your life, as well as the relationship part of your life. The first definition is it is not practical, economical, or material to good to be by yourself. What they meant and what I discussed was in your everyday 24 hours, you only have a certain amount of time to cover a certain amount of things. So a lot of times we're going to miss things because we only are allotted a certain amount of time. So basically what it means is we have to pick and choose what is best for us for the day, what is most important for us for the day. Now the second definition is the answer to God saying it's not good for man to be alone, which is desirable. The third definition is the quality aspect, and it's still not good for man to be alone from a quality standpoint, because you will never be able to relate to anybody. No matter how good you are, sometimes being too good is a negative thing because you can't relate and other people can't relate to you. So even in saying that, yeah, strive to be the best, and I'm not saying don't be the best, but what I'm saying is understand how to be well-rounded and how to relate to people. That's what I'm saying from the quality standpoint. Now, when you look at from the moral standpoint of it's not good to be alone, you have to look at, if God tell us to go into the word and to preach his gospel, how can we do that and we're physically by ourselves, morally by ourselves? That's impossible. So we can't do the things that God has commanded us. So that's still not good for man to be alone by ourselves morally. Now the fifth part is the technical philosophical part, or the rationalizing part. It's still not good for man to be alone by yourself rational wise, because you can only see things from a certain point of view. 2 heads are better than 1, 2 eyes are better than 1, 4 people are better than 1, 2 people are better than 1. No matter what you look at, when you have that many more eyes or that many more opinions, you're able to see things from a whole different perspective, because you're able to gather how the same situation affect everybody differently. So in going forward, I'm finna show you now how to first study in a different manner to piggyback off when God gives you a question or he gives you an answer to your question. I'm gonna show you a second way how to go back and look at it and study that again to get a better understanding. So I'm finna show you now how it is not good desirable wise, how it affects your everyday living. Now, when I talk about the first definition, it's not practical, economical, or material good to be alone in your everyday life. When you desire certain things, you're going to adjust your schedule to the things that you desire. So if you want to go out Friday night, guess what? You're going to have your clothes ready. You might forfeit a couple of hours of rest just to get your stuff ready so you can go out, have your shoes ready, get your hair cut, get your perfume, whatever you need to go out to have a good time. So what it means is you might want to sleep 8 hours, but you're going to take 2 hours away from your sleep time and do what you need to do. You might want to work 10 hours, but you might cut it back to a regular 8-hour day so you can have time to go out to enjoy yourself. You might want to come in at a certain time, but to enjoy yourself and have fun, you're going to forfeit or you're going to sacrifice that in order to have a good time based off your desires. Now, when it comes to the second definition of actually desiring things, your desires are affected basically from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint or emotional standpoint, and from a spiritual standpoint. So when you understand what you're desiring, the thing that you desire the most, that's what you're gonna go after. And a lot of times how that is basically perceived is based off what you're lacking or what you're starving the most. If you lack love, that's what you're gonna seek after. If you lack attention, that's what you're gonna seek after. If you lack money, that's what you're gonna try and go after. The most is the things that you lack. So the things that you desire the most, whether it's a physical lust or a spiritual desire, the things that you lack the most, that's what you're gonna go after. That's what you're going to pursue after. Now, the quality wise, this is how your desire affects your quality, because everybody's younger. So when you go out at night, guess what? When you young in your teens, 19, 20, 21, you're not looking for a wife. You're only looking for a person to have a good time with. To a lot of young people, not all people, but a lot of young people. So the quality of the individual you choose for the night is not going to have that high of a standards, or they're not going to want to be serious about life. So you're going to choose based on your desire of wanting to have a good time for the night or for the weekend or whatever. Now, as you get older, when you come to choosing a wife, the quality changes a whole lot, because now you want somebody serious in life. You want somebody mature. You want somebody that understands the things that they want in life. You want somebody to help you out in life. So now, from the quality standpoint of not being good, you desire something totally different when you get older. So from a quality standpoint, you're going to switch from having fun to being serious about the longevity in your life. So that's how, again, how your desires affect the quality. Now, from a moral standpoint, based off your circumstances or the things you go through in your everyday life, from a moral standpoint, your desires are going to be based off what it is that you want to hear. Sometimes you want to hear a kind word. So guess what? You might just want to need to talk to mama, or you might just need to talk to big mama, or you might need to talk to Gigi or whoever you talk to that you confide in, because you need to hear a kind word. So from a moral standpoint, when you're desiring to hear a straightforward answer, you might want to go talk to your daddy. But at the end of the day, well, you might want to talk to the male figure in your life, or the pastor, or whoever that gives you a stern, solid word. So when you're desiring things based from a moral standpoint of the things that you're going through off your everyday life, that still dictates who you talk to and who you seek after. Because in a rough situation, you don't want to keep going through hell. You want somebody to come in and nurture you. You want somebody to come in and comfort you. So that desire to be comforted is going to drive you to talk to the people that you know is going to comfort you, the people that you know is going to give you a kind word and give you encouragement and not beat you down like you've been getting beat down. Now, the fifth part of technical philosophical why it's not good to be alone, and how the desire part affects that is, it's still based off your rationalizing. It still is based off your intellect. Sometimes when you want to be silly, guess what? You're not going to get the serious person, because you want to be silly. You want to have a good time. So based off your desire to want to laugh, guess what? You're going to get the silly person, or the person with less intellect, because you don't want to hear that at that moment. Now, when you want to hear a good word, or you want to hear somebody that makes sense, then you might talk to your pastor, or you might talk to the person that you seek out the information for. But for the most part, that is how the desire aspect affects every other definition. Now, to further that, in our everyday life, a lot of times as Christians, we don't look at the aspect of basically defining words, or basically understanding in its entirety how things affect us. But to go back to, it's not good for man to be alone, the desire part affects every aspect of our life. And you have to understand how that when God gives you a specific answer, how it affects every aspect of your life: the physical part, the mental part, the social part, and all different variations in your life. And a lot of times what we do is we focus in on one different area, or we focus in on one specific area, and we miss how it affects us in our overall area. Just like going back to dating. When you're younger, you want to have fun, and you're not serious about getting married. You're not serious about really having someone in your corner. You just want somebody to be there. It is not necessarily in your good or bad time. You just want somebody there for your convenience. So in saying it to you, you have to understand how the desires are different than when you get older. When you get older and you done had your fun, you done played your games, and you done did all that you want to do, now you're not looking for that. So you're looking for something totally different. And that's how it affects, and that's how it dictates everything you do from that standpoint, based off your desires in your heart. So you have to understand, at the end of the day, you have to look at it from, hey, in this situation at work, why am I seeking to work here? Why am I seeking to go to this church? Why am I seeking to be in this social club? Why am I seeking to go downtown and just hang out? Why am I seeking to go to to an NFL game or whatever you want to do, you have to understand why it is that you desire it, because it helps you to understand your reasoning and your motives in doing those things. And you have to understand from that standpoint, if you understand the reason and motives why you do things, it helps you to make a better decision and not a worse decision. So you have to understand, like I say, going back to looking at things from an overall standpoint. When I first studied the word where it said it's not good for man to be alone, I thought it was it. But when God showed me a different way or another deeper level of understanding, it made me look at it totally different, because from that standpoint, I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I know how to structure my life from a 24-hour standpoint. I know how the things I desire going on in my life. Yeah, I know the quality of life that I want. Yes, from a moral standpoint, I know how to do all this. And I'm like, oh, thank you, God, for teaching me all this. Yes, from a philosophical standpoint, yes, I know how to talk. I learned how to talk to people. I learned how to be kind to people. Yes, but when God showed me, say, hey, go look at that again. Let me show you something different. Let me show you how that dictates everything you do. Now, once he showed me that, my insight and my reasoning to going into different situations became totally different, because I was able to understand myself and understand the things that I seek after. So it made me to broaden my horizon, made me to broaden my intellect, it made me to broaden my points of views, because at the end of the day, I was able to navigate a whole lot easier, because I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew exactly what I needed. I knew exactly what I had to have. I knew exactly how to go about getting what I had, what I needed. So in the end, when you're able to look at it from a more overall or more broad standpoint, the more different points of views you're going to get, and the easier it becomes, because you see everything that's going to affect you. You see everything, how it's going to relate to you. You see everything that's going to draw your attention. You see everything that's going to pull you in a negative direction. You see things that are going to pull you in a positive direction. So at the end of the day, you have to understand how, as you expand your horizon or you expand your intellect, you have to realize how that affects your everyday life. And those are things really that I'm trying to get you to see in this video. Tell me how you like, tell me what you think, leave those comments, subscribe, and I'll holler at you later.